Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's going to be module 2, section 1, AWS core services compute. Now, what's in this module? In this module, we're going to see as an overview of compute services, an introduction to Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, that's also known as Amazon EC2, super duper famous in AWS. We're gonna see Amazon EC2 cost optimization. That's very important. We're gonna have an introduction to AWS Lambda, which is a serverless compute service. And then we're gonna have an introduction to AWS Elastic Beanstalk, which is a platform as a service, and it's very, very important when it comes to deployment. If you want to deploy your infrastructure, AWS Elastic Beanstalk, it's one of the guys that will help you do that. Okay. Now, module objectives. We're going to discuss key concepts related to uh, compute and a core AWS service. We're going to provide, well, this lesson is going to provide an overview of different AWS compute services in the cloud, provide an in-depth review of Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, is Amazon EC2, explain AWS Lambda and serverless computing, and review AWS Elastic Beanstalk. Okay. Now, part 1, compute services overview. Okay, so we have here some of the in this slide and the other one, we have some of the services that are in the compute section of AWS. Of course, the one heading the parade, leading the parade, is Amazon EC2. It's a virtual computing environment in the cloud. In other words, EC2 is a virtual server. It's a server in the cloud. It's like a physical server, but it's in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about any physical hardware because it's virtual, right? But we spoke in our first class. We said in our first class, Amazon has physical servers in a data center. So the data resides in those physical servers that Amazon has, right? In an availability zone. But for us as customers, AWS customers, we don't need to worry about any physical hardware because everything, like I said before, is in the cloud. Okay, so we have AWS Lambda. Now, something that you have to understand, it's the first word, the first 2 words of the sentence below AWS Lambda is fully managed. Fully managed is it's key. That's key in an exam. Okay, managed is something, fully managed is something else, unmanaged is something else. So those 3 words, you have to remember that. Okay, managed, fully managed, unmanaged. Okay, why is it fully managed? Because you don't have to worry about anything. You worry about nothing. So what you have to do is upload the code and just watch it run. That's it. Nothing else. No security, no bridges, no maintenance, nothing, because it's serverless. We don't need a server. We just create the function. Lambda is a function that is triggered by an event. We have to have events to trigger a Lambda function, and that's when CloudWatch comes into place. because CloudWatch it's a monitoring and service that triggers events, and then is in connection with Lambda. And with, for example, when someone, for example, uploads a file in an S3 bucket, you can trigger a Lambda function that sends an email or a notification to the administrator. And then the administrator will get an email and say someone has just uploaded a file in your S3 bucket. So that's how Lambda works. Lambda works with events. Something triggers it, and then Lambda does the action that it was intended for. That's how Lambda works. Okay, so it's fully managed. Don't forget that, fully managed. You don't have to manage anything, including security, anything. Upload the code, and today we might see how you can upload the code in Lambda, and then Lambda will run it for you. Okay, or load there's several ways. You can write the code, you can upload the code, or different ways. You can get the code from an S3 bucket too. The code is zipped there. It's a zip file. You just get the code from S3 bucket, run it in an S3 in Lambda, and then Lambda does the action that the code indicates that it has to do. Okay. Now today we might see the way, writing the code. We're gonna not write the code. The code is already written for you, but I'm gonna show you how you can do certain actions with code. Okay, how to trigger this Lambda using CloudWatch. Okay, so automatic scaling is also part of the compute section. You scale EC2 capacity as needed. We spoke about that already. And it improves availability, of course. If you have you have to scale out, increase the number of EC2s, then you are improving availability. It's going to be more available for you. Okay. Elastic Load Balancer, it's also in the compute services. It distributes the incoming traffic. Don't forget, I might show you today how to create EC2 instances and then create an Elastic Load Balancer on top of those or in front of those EC2 instances, and then we're gonna test how it distributes the traffic to the two EC2 instances evenly. Okay. Also, it helps achieve higher levels of fault tolerance. Of course, if one EC2 instance shows unhealthy, what's it gonna do? It's gonna reroute the traffic to the ones that are healthy, right? And it's not gonna send traffic to that one until it is healthy again. Okay. And we have this guy, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. It quickly deploys, scales, and manages web apps. So Elastic Beanstalk is for deployment. It's for blue-green deployment. Have you ever heard about blue-green deployment? Never?
No, never.
Never.
Okay, so yeah, we might talk about it, but it's mostly in the afternoon class. But we may talk about it a little bit when we see this guy in more details. Okay. Elastic Beanstalk, like we saw before, is free. There's no charge for Elastic Beanstalk, but you may create resources with Elastic Beanstalk as well as CloudFormation. Remember that you have to pay for them. So the only underlying services that you may create with Elastic Beanstalk may not be free. So why do I say may not be? Because if you create IAM users with Elastic Beanstalk or with CloudFormation, IAM is free. So there's not be any charge at all because Elastic Beanstalk is free and IAM is free. Okay. But if you create EC2 instance with Elastic Beanstalk, you're not going to be charged for Elastic Beanstalk, but you're going to be charged for EC2. Okay? So Elastic Beanstalk, EC2, AWS Lambda, automatic scaling, Elastic Load Balancers, AWS Elastic Beanstalk, We have 4 more. We have Amazon Lightsail. If you want to start a new business, if you want to jumpstart a new business, a small new business, that's the way it is. Lightsail. Lightsail is a platform that you can use for application servers and web apps. Everything needed to jumpstart a project, manage simple web and application servers. So if you want to go easy and want to go, save some money to start your small business, this is the guy that's going to help you start. Lightsail. Okay. So we also have Amazon Elastic Container Services. This guy is highly available, high performant. It's a container where you can run applications on top of them. Okay. With this guy, you can create EC2 instances. They're going to be running on containers. Containers are independent of each other, so they are self-contained, and they guarantee fault tolerance because they are separated from each other. And then you put
teacher, I have a question. Does kind of container is the same standard container like a Docker?
Yeah, Docker work with this too, right? But you have several. You have this option, or you have Docker. Right? Amazon also supports Docker containers. Okay, but it's similar. Docker. Remember, Docker is not a proprietary Amazon service, right? That's a third-party service. The one that Amazon has is EC2, is ECS. I'm sorry. So you can use Docker if you want to, but they're similar.
Okay, remember, this is another kind of container property of Amazon.
That's right. That's right. That's for Amazon. It's
okay,
it's like for Jenkins. Have you guys heard about Jenkins?
Yes.
Jenkins is a deployment for building applications, right? For building applications. Amazon has code build. So you have GitHub, right? GitHub, which is a third-party application or also a provider.
Yeah, I've heard about GitHub.
GitHub, you have code commit in AWS. So Docker is for containers, and Amazon also has ECS for containers too. So eliminates a need to manage cluster management infrastructure. So with this guy, we don't have to manage any cluster management infrastructure. So that's a huge advantage. We're gonna talk about more about this guy later. Amazon Fargate is for containers. This is for containers. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. This is Oscar here. In terms of container, so how do you define? I mean, I know what's a container, but how do you define the container within the services itself? So what is a container itself?
A container is a container. That's the word says it. It's a container where you can run applications inside them. You can run EC2 servers there. Okay. It's for more fault tolerance.
So what is the difference between a container and a server?
EC2 is a server.
No, ECS. EC2 is a server. I know it.
But yeah, but you're telling me what's the difference between a container and a server?
Yeah, so
you put servers in containers.
You put servers in containers.
That's right. They don't have. There's no comparison between that. One is a container and one is a server. You run in servers on top of the containers.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
If we assign certain memory to container, so means if you run a server, it should be less memory than what container has, or it can be more.
Okay, let me do this. All right, here. Amazon Elastic Container Service is a fully managed container orchestration service. Customers such as Duolingo, Samsung, General Electric, Cookpad use ECS to run their most sensitive and mission critical application servers because of its security, reliability, and scalability. Remember that Elastic ECS is highly available. Okay, so they're most secure because they're self-contained. right? They don't depend on the other containers. They are their own entity, right? They're reliable because of that too, and they're highly scalable. So you can run mission critical applications on containers because they're secure, reliable, and scalable. Okay, that's an option. You don't have to run on containers. It's an option. For example, when I worked in the College Board, they use Docker containers to run their applications. So whenever you see the SAT exam, that is running on containers. Now, it says here, ECS is a great choice to run containers for several reasons. First, you can choose to run your EC2 clusters, ECS cluster. When we say cluster, is a group of servers, is a group of EC2 instances using Fargate. Now we're gonna see Fargate now, but Fargate is serverless. Okay, so you can run containers without servers, but this is more expensive. Fargate, they create this. This is a fairly new service, okay, that you can run containers without any server. Okay, but that's another concept. That's another class, right? Serverless is another class. Okay, which is serverless compute for containers. Fargate removes the need to provision and manage servers. That's a concept that we already know for serverless. Okay, we don't need to provision any server. We don't need to manage any server. It lets you specify and pay for resources per application and improves security through application isolation. Okay, that's one of the benefits of containers. It's isolated. It means that one doesn't depend on the other. Second, ECS is used extensively within Amazon. Amazon itself, the company, uses ECS to power services such as Amazon SageMaker. This is for machine learning. Amazon Batch for batch jobs. Amazon Lex, I don't know what that is. That's a new service probably. And Amazon
Lex is for natural. That's what we use. Natural language processing.
Okay, natural language processing. Okay, Amazon. Thank you. Amazon's recommendation engine ensures ECS is tested extensively for security. As you can see, these three components here are part of the benefits of ECS: security, reliability, and availability. Okay. Now, ECS is required. No, it's not required. It's an option, right? If you want to be more secure, more reliable, more available, I mean, use service that is more secure, more reliable, more available, and more scalable, then use ECS and run your servers on your on containers. Simple. That's the way it is. But it's just for security, reliability, and scalability. Okay, you understand?
Yep.
So
containers is just like a container, like any container, you know, a container. I don't know how else explain that to you. It's a container, just a container that you put something inside. Okay, but that container provides these three guys, right? So it's a choice. It's an option that AWS customers have. If you decide not to use containers, I just create an EC2 instance there, and that's it. But it's less secure, it's less scalable, and it's less available and less reliable.
Well, Professor?
Yes.
I would say that the container will keep the application isolated. I mean, it's
That's
like
right.
its own world.
That's right.
Yeah.
So benefits. You see the benefits here? So I can put this in the message in the on the chat. Okay. Okay.
Professor, I just put a description from Wikipedia of what a container is.
Okay. You should know this by now, but don't trust Wikipedia 100%.
Well, for computer science, I tend to.
Yeah, Wikipedia is just people like you and me that add information there, and sometimes they're really wrong,
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
wrong.
that is true.
Yeah.
This one is
So you know, I don't discourage reading Wikipedia, but I just encourage being careful and cautious.
Yeah, I would say
Uh,
get it from Microsoft, you know.
yeah, or I can see that you can read in a Docker because it's the same general definition about containers.
Hmm. That's right. And Fargate is similar to Amazon Elastic Container Services, but without servers. Okay, that's a different service. For example, if you go to Amazon, let's see here. If I go to Amazon here, so I come here and I go to my console, and then I enter. You know, it's here, and I can make it bigger for you guys. So I come here and I put ECS, right? Elastic Container Service. I can get started. You can get a video here if you want to know more a little bit.
Using
more.
Docker containers means that you can
So you can watch this video if you want to later. So I can come here and get started. Okay, and then next. So I'm gonna use a sample application here. Just high level, you know, it's superficially. Okay, and I can do next. Cluster name, I can just leave it default to whatever you want. And here, review, and they start creating the cluster here for you. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this immediately because I don't want to be charged. But in this case, is you know what? Can you read this up here?
Mhm.
Okay, Amazon recommends this guy right off the bat. Why? Because you know,
pay for it.
right?
Because you pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And also, well, ECS is not cheap. I mean, it's not free, but Fargate is much more expensive. But why do they recommend this? Because you're serviceless, and serviceless is very popular right now. You know, you don't have to worry about any services. I mean, any servers or anything. So here we have this guy. So I have to create a task. The task is the one that's going to work with the containers. You can have auto scaling here. You can scale your applications here. You have deployment, metrics. You want to see the health of your EC2 instances. You have here CPU utilization and memory utilization. You can have some logging here to see, you know, if there are an event, something broke or something is not right. You have the tasks that are running, the ones that are stopped. Here you have the cluster. I don't know why this is, one moment. Okay, account settings, size definition, all that. Yeah, so there's something that probably later you can, if you want to create a cluster, you can come here and create a cluster here and things like that. So EC2 ECS, this is the other service that we're gonna see in our this is Kubernetes. Kubernetes is third-party container service. It's now from AWS. It's a third party. Maybe if you want to know more about Kubernetes, which is not in this exam at all, that's something that you can you know, do on your own time. This guy here here down here, Amazon Elastic Container Services for Kubernetes. Kubernetes is third party. container thing, but Amazon has support for that. That's what it has, ECS for Kubernetes. You just need to know about it. That's it. No more than that. You don't need to know maybe what it does, but you don't need to know or to become an expert in Kubernetes or work with Kubernetes. Okay, but you run Kubernetes without managing Kubernetes clusters. So that's with Amazon. Okay, Amazon provides that support. Okay. Part 2, introduction to Amazon EC2. Okay, so I don't think we need to talk about this slide because there's a picture there, Amazon EC2. That's what we're gonna talk about right now. Okay, so Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, yesterday or not yesterday, Wednesday, we created an EC2 instance. That was a web server, right? Remember what we did? We just we installed an Apache server to show some text on the screen. That was a web server, okay? A web server. Would you have some HTML files? It's like a computer, a computer. If you you can get a text editor in your computer. For example, Node++, or probably VS Code. Remember, I asked you guys to download VS Code. You can have that, and for example, I can do this in my computer very easily. So I can have this guy here. This is VS Code, right? So I can, let me close this guy. I don't need it. So I'm gonna bring up a new one. Okay, new one. Okay, so I can have this guy here. No, don't worry. I'm gonna create a file here, a file. I don't know, guys, if you can bring up your, can you bring up your text editor, VS Code? Do you have it?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
You can bring it up, and then we can. Okay. So.
Visual Studio Code.
Sorry.
I couldn't remember the name of the program. I found it.
VS Code. VS Code. We can just right here, new file. See new file here. Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we can come here to new file. And you see here on title.
Yeah.
So we can save that file. We can save that file as an HTML file. Let's say test HTML, okay? So for an HTML file to run, it has to have the extension HTML.
So you said test.html, right?
Yeah, test.html, like text, test.txt, if it's a text file, test.pdf, if it is a PDF file. HTML is just an extension, test.html. So you're gonna save that in a location that you can find it easily. In my case, I'm gonna save it on the desktop. Okay. Okay. So that's gonna be test. As soon as you do that, it's gonna change the icon here, because in VS Code, every file has a different icon, right? Every extension. For HTML it's this greater than and less than equal. Symbol here, sign. Okay, so we're gonna type HTML, right? Don't finish it. Just write HTML, right? Just like that, because VS Code has something called IntelliSense. IntelliSense gives you suggestions of the things that you could write when you start a word. Okay, so I'm gonna select HTML5. Okay, and it's gonna give me all this, right? So do I do it again? HTML and then 5, right? Now I can change the title of my page. That's gonna show in your tab when you open this file. So I'm gonna say my first HTML page. Okay. Okay.
Can you put you could, whatever you put there will display, like you could put special characters like apostrophes and commas.
It's not recommended because that's the title of your web page. Usually we don't, I mean, people don't put commas or any special character in the title of a page.
Okay, I was just putting my name. That's why
Yeah.
I was putting Ciara's.
Okay, but that's what you put. That's what shows in the tab when you open the browser. That's what shows there. You don't want your name to show there. So I can say here H1. Remember, H1 is a tag that's for heading. Remember when we did it in the web server? Remember EC2 instance and the user data when we added the scripting, the bash script there that we use hello from in your name. Okay. Yeah. So once you put this is the good thing about VS Code. Once you put this and you close it, immediately it gives you the closing tag. Because HTML has that. It has an opening tag and a closing tag. Opening, closing. But the closing has a / here. See? Now inside that is when we write something. So we say, hello from whatever. You can write whatever you want. Hello from Dunieski Otano, right? And then below, we can enter, just hit enter and put another one, let's say H3, which is smaller, right? The bigger the number, the smaller the heading, okay? So we do this and we say where everything in AWS becomes super duper easy. Okay. So we can put some styling here inside this. After number 1, we can just hit space after number 1, right? And we're gonna say style. We're gonna put this equal symbol, open quotations and close quotation, and say color blue. And for H3, we're gonna do the same.
Professor, can you make this bigger, please?
Bigger? Yes, why not?
So before the blue, there's something in there.
Yeah, but that's VS Code. That's VS Code to show you that is a blue color.
Okay.
That's VS Code way to show you. You just selected blue, and there's a color red. Okay. Now, you see this little circle here? You see it?
Yep.
It means that you haven't saved it. You haven't saved it. You have to save it. Okay. Once you save it, it's going to disappear and an X is going to show. You can do Control, in your case, Control S. In the case of Mac is Command S. Okay. And then you save it, right? save it. Or you can simply come here and just file save. Okay?
What is it that you said? What circle?
It's supposed to show here.
Oh, okay. I
If I
see.
make a change, for example, this one is going to show a circle.
I got it. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
It means that you haven't saved it. Once you save it, it disappears. Okay? Now try to find that file, whatever it is. Okay? Whatever it is, trying to find it. Mhm. And click on it.
How did you open it?
Click on it.
Open.
Yeah.
See there?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we created an HTML file inside our EC2. Remember? Index that HTML. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Because EC2 instance is a computer. But the only difference is that it's local here. This is local. If you take a look at this, if you take a look at the here at the path, it says file user Donetsk tunnel desktop test. This is only for me, right?
Mhm.
Yours is only for you. If you give me this path, I will not be able to see anything, right? The difference with the EC2 instance is hosted. It's hosted globally. So whatever I create with the EC2 instance, I can give it to you and you will be able to see it. Because it's a web server, right? My point is the following. This is my point, right? My point is that you can create a web server with an EC2 instance. It's right here, web server, right? You can create an application server. You can create a database server. You can create a game server, a mail server, a media server, a catalog server, a file server, computing server, proxy server. Is EC2 important? Yes, it is. It's super important. You can use this guy, Elastic Compute Cloud, to create any type of server in this list. Okay? So that's what you have to bear in mind. That you can create several stuff here with this EC2 instance. Now, Amazon EC2 offers virtual computer environments known as instances. Whenever you create an EC2 a server, you're actually creating an instance, right? It's an instance that you can launch and manage with a few clicks of a mouse or a few lines of code. So today, we can have built an EC2 again, and go over the process of doing it. It's pretty easy. And when it says here a few lines of code, this is what we talked about before, the CloudFormation guy. Remember CloudFormation? To create resources with a few lines of code, you can create an EC2 instance. I'm going to show you today how to create an EC2 instance with CloudFormation, but I don't want you to write any code. I just want you to watch me. That's what I want. And then when you watch the video, you can go over the video and do yourself, okay? Because we don't have time to, do it together in class. So most servers operate, server operating systems are supported, okay? It uses, can use Linux, Windows, different things, right? You can create, save, and reuse your own servers images as Amazon EC2, Amazon machine images. A machine image is what we see is the first thing that we have to see when we create an Amazon EC2 instance. is the first thing that we have to choose when we create it. So if we go here, the very first thing that we have to choose is an Amazon machine image. That's the first thing that we have to choose. Why? Because this is a template that contains all the things that we need for that EC2 instance. Okay, so of course it can be customized. It can be customized. You can create your own image here. You can have your images here. You can get it from the marketplace if you want to. You can get it from the community, people that have already created images. You can create this, get it from here as well, right? You can have, you can select Amazon Linux, for example. You're gonna all the images here for Amazon Linux. You can have here for Ubuntu, the images that work with Ubuntu. We have these guys here. Or you can get one from Windows, and you can get all these guys here. So it supports all most operating systems, right? And that's pretty good. So this guy may contain, you can customize it, and for example, just put your own operating system inside the image. You can put different softwares and inside the image, and then when you install the EC2 instance, it's going to have those components already installed because the image already contained them. This guy is like an image, an ISO image that you use to install software on a computer, similar, in a Windows computer. So this has everything that you need to create an EC2 instance. Okay. So number one thing that you have to choose to create an EC2 instance is required. It's an AMI. Okay, AMI, very important. You will see AMI more than Amazon machine image. AMI is more popular. People call it AMI. Is an acronym. It's shorter. You know, people like to use AMI more than the actual name of it. Okay. So you can add more instances when you need them, terminate them when you don't, like we did on Wednesday. We stopped the instance, we terminated the instance. We can launch one instance at a time or launch a whole fleet. That's what they call when you launch 20 instances at once, you call it a fleet of instances, okay? You can have some metrics for CPU. Memory is not a metric, but you can measure that too. You can choose memory, storage, networking, graphics, general purpose instance types, and are available too. All of this is available for EC2 instances. And then you choose that when you create an EC2 instance in your, here, when you create EC2 instance, then you have the types here, all the instance types, right? And then you have the general purpose here, right? That's the family. And then you can have compute optimized if you need more computing. And you can have, if you need more GPU, graphic processing units. If you need machine learning, you know, if you need memory optimized, you need more memory. So it's a lot of things that you can choose here for your EC2. If you're more storage, you can have all the types, right? Of course, this is gonna be super, super expensive. This is for, you know, big companies and, you know, companies that have a lot of CPU utilization. That's absolutely crazy, you know. But for us, we only need the one in the free tier. We don't need anything else, right? So Amazon EC2 instances, Amazon and Amazon VPC now offer native support for IPv6 protocol. You can have a look at IPv6. You know, IPv4 was the standard protocol, but now they have IPv6 that has millions and millions of IP addresses, which is pretty good. And it has 128 bits. You know, a normal IP address, IPv4, has 32, and IPv6 has 128 bits, and it's much larger. And also IPv4 was with binary thing. IPv6 is hexadecimal, so you can research on hexadecimal notation and then to understand IPv6 better. And then we can use security groups to control traffic and to and from the instances. Okay. Now, choosing the right Amazon EC2 instance is very important. You have to know what the company needs. You don't want to provide an instance that has power you're not going to use, or you don't want to go the other way, lack power, right? So AWS uses Intel Xeon processors. That's I don't know. Have you seen the new Max, the big one, the one that is space gray, the new Max?
The iMac Pros?
The iMac Pros, right?
Yeah.
They use Intel Xeon processors. That's a powerful processor for mostly for servers. Okay, so Amazon uses that in their infrastructure, in the architecture of the data centers. They use that, and they provide customers with high performance and value. So Amazon, from their perspective, already have all the equipment completely optimized for you guys to choose the type that you want. So it all starts with Amazon, that chooses the best servers and the best equipment. And then you, from the comfort of your house, you can choose the type you want and have all the power you want, because it's virtually unlimited. Okay, which is great. So Amazon EC2 instance types are optimized for different use cases and workload requirements. They come in multiple sizes. Of course, we saw it before, all the instance types, all the sizes you want. Now, these are 5 components of 5 considerations that you should take into account when choosing your instance. The core count, how many core does it have? If it has a 9 core, 18 core, it's for processing information, okay? At the same time, memory size, how much memory you need. The storage size, how much you're gonna store, and the storage type. Network performance, what you're gonna use for network, and CPU technologies. So here, when we chose here, we can have the CPU as well here. Okay. The network performance, we have it here, right? We have a low to moderate, moderate, up to 5 gigabits, how fast it is. The further down you go, the more expensive it is and the better performing it is. So we have up to 25 gigabits. That's super crazy. 75 gigabits. So believe if you use, don't ever choose any of these types, because you're gonna end up paying a lot of money, right? Okay, so look at this, 100 gigabits. That's super fast. And you can also choose if it supports IPv6, right? If you want access to your EC2 instance, not only using IP addresses of IPv4 support, also for v6, so you can choose all this. And I believe that most of them support that. Not to say all of them, I guess all of them. But this one doesn't have any support right here. Okay, but most of them support IPv6 now, because that's the future, right? So recently, last time I checked, we're running out of IPv4 IP addresses. So the future is IPv6. So Amazon has to be on top of the technology. So they have created EC2 instance types that support the new trend. Okay.
Needed for IoT.
Yes. Actually, Amazon has IoT support as well for IoT devices. Okay. Continue. So Now we have Amazon AMI. It defines the initial software that will be on your instance when it's launched, serving as the basic unit of deployment for services delivered using Amazon EC2, and defines every aspect of the software state as at instance launch, including the operating system, the initial state of any patches, applications, or systems. Whenever you install an AMI, whenever you use an AMI, this is what it contains. Okay, it contains. So when you launch your instance automatically contains all this. It contains the operating system. Remember that we chose AMI for Linux. So that's the operating system and its configuration. It already had the configuration. And it has all the patches that it needs to start. And it has the application assistance software, all the software that it needs to run, okay? Of course, you can have your custom AMI and put your own software or your own patches or your own operating system. That's a custom, it's called custom AMI, right? So all AMIs are based on x86 OS, either Linux or Windows, okay? So I guess that's basically it, Linux or Windows. Those are the two operating systems that are right now. Okay. So how do you create and register an AMI? Okay, you launch a new instance, right? Okay, so what you have to do is you come here. So you can create the EC2 instance here. You can grab the AMI ID from here, right? Just you want to create another EC2 instance with this image, you can grab it here, go to CLI and create it from the CLI, right? Like we did the first day of class. I think we did it in class, right? We created like 20 EC2 instances in the CLI.
No, I think we haven't working with the CLI too.
No?
No.
It was in the afternoon class. Okay, that's what happens when you are teaching two classes from the same cloud provider. Okay, so one moment. Okay, so I have the CLI here, right? Okay. If you already install your the CLI, Amazon CLI, if you type AWS, it's gonna show this. If it says command not found, it means that your the CLI is not installed. Okay. So how can we create an EC2 instance from the command line? The first thing that you have to do.
Question: are you in a command window?
Yes. In my case, it's Mac. I don't know if you guys are using Windows. If you're using Windows, it's the same thing. You already created. You should be able to type AWS and then show this if you installed it. Right? Now, the commands for Windows are not the same as for Linux. So
where is this?
I'm sorry?
What program are you in?
That is the CLI. That's the command, the command line prompt if you're using Windows, right?
Oh, okay.
If you're using Mac, it's gonna be your terminal, right?
Got it. Okay.
It's gonna be your terminal. So we have here I'm sorry.
Beg your pardon. Sorry, this is Oscar. No, I lost you here. So what are you trying to do now?
The problem is, okay. Let me do something real quick, because you will not be able, your AWS command line is not configured. One moment. Let me help you here. So I want you to go to your to your platform. Can you go to your platform, to your console in AWS, please?
Yes, I'm logged in.
Okay. So we're gonna type here IAM.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
IAM, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Click on it.
Mhm.
Okay, this is a section where you create users, right?
Yep.
Because it's not recommended to use your root account for anything. Root account is sacred, okay? So we're gonna click on users. You see here, left-hand side, you know, bar, sidebar here, sidebar menu,
Mhm.
okay? So we click on users and then add user. You see, add user. In my case, I already have an administrator here, right? Add user. So we're gonna add a user here, and you're gonna give it a name. Let's say Orlando. In my case, right? You can put anything you want. So you as an administrator, you're creating a user, right? Like, let's say that you're the administrator of your company and there's no a new employee, you're gonna create a user for that employee, right? Now that person, we're gonna give it programmatic access. We're talking about the CLI, right? So that person can work from the CLI. If you don't click this, the person will not be able to work from the CLI, right? So the CLI, and we're gonna give access to the console. So the person can access the console using a password and the username, right? Now, very important, you can auto-generate the password, okay? And then here it says user must create a new password at next time signing. Okay, you can do that or not, right? Or you can give a custom password here. You just click show password, whatever you want to say, you know, show password, you know, that's the way it is. You do it the way you want, whatever you want, right? I don't need to create a user. You're gonna create it because you don't have any. I already have Dunieski, so I'm just demonstrating here how to use it. I'm gonna delete this user as soon as I create it. Okay. So next, we're gonna click on next permissions, right? Now, best practice for AWS. Best practice. Never give permissions to user individually. Never. Create a group.
Yep.
Give the group permissions and then put the user inside the group. That's it. All the users that you put inside that group are going to be affected by that permission. Okay? So create a group and give it a name. Just give group administrators 1. In my case, administrators 1 because I already have administrators. So in your case, administrators. Okay? So what permissions are we going to use? I'm going to give this, what policies are we going to give this administrator? Let's type here full access.
Teacher, a question.
Yeah.
But is necessary make another group by or for administrator access because we already have one?
Oh, so if you already have one, you don't have to create another one. I just do it because you guys don't have an administrator group.
No, but I see by default have one.
No. In my console?
Yes.
Because I already created one. It's not by default. I already created one. I'm just creating another one for you guys to see. I have one already. That's why I put one. Because I cannot have two groups with the same name. So Amazon full access. I think it's Amazon full access. Administrator. Administrator's access right here. You see? So we're gonna choose that, right? And we're gonna click create group. So we're adding a policy to that group, a policy that provides full access to AWS services and resources. Okay, full access. We create the group. Okay, and automatically the user that you created, you're creating is going to be placed here, automatic here. So we're going to click next tags. We don't need that now. In the future, you might need them. And then you create the user. Okay.
So tags you said nothing, right?
No, nothing. Okay, now you see here this access key ID and secret access key. You see here? That's gonna be used for your CLI. So somewhere, save these guys, or you can download them here. Okay, somewhere save these two guys, right? Save these two guys. Don't forget that one is the access key ID and the other one is the secret key access key. You're going to use them in the CLI to configure the CLI, and you're able to create buckets, create resources from the CLI. So you will need these guys. And once you configure it the first time, you don't have to configure it again. Okay. So save these guys. Let me know when you have saved these guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't need this anymore. I'm going to come to the CLI. Right? Now I'm in the CLI. Okay. So we're going to type AWS configure.
CLI is under Visual Studio as well?
I'm sorry?
The CLI is under the Visual Studio Code as well or not?
No. That's your command line.
Oh, so the CLI is...
Okay, the CLI is the command line interface. VS Code is something else.
Okay.
VS Code is a text editor.
Yeah, okay. So the command line...
So we're gonna type AWS.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes, mine is telling me that I don't have any users to the group.
What do you mean? Oh.
It says this group does not contain any users.
We didn't create any tags, right?
No.
No, we didn't.
Okay, if I go back to the groups. Okay.
I have administrator and it tells me users 0.
Okay, you see what I created? It has one user inside.
Hold on.
So you missed probably one step. I have one user inside. Okay,
yeah, I heard you say that it would automatically create, put the user in there, but mine didn't.
Okay.
It happened to me too. just go back where it says 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will take you back to where you were creating the user, and then you can finish creating the user.
Let me see.
Where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What says tags, permissions, 2 permissions, 3 tags. 1 will be details.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
Okay.
It happened to me too. just go back where it says 1.
So I think, under administrator, it just says user 0. So I guess I have to add user?
Yes.
Okay, username. Okay.
Okay. So
and then access type
programmatic
and console. Okay.
So We put here AWS configure, right? And you hit enter.
So, sorry, Gniewski, no, how do you access, could you please tell me how do you access the CLI interface, this stuff?
Do you have Mac or Windows?
Windows?
Okay, then you have to go to where it says
It's a CMD.
CMD, right? CMD, and then.
Oh, sorry. So you mean okay. So I
Yeah,
okay, I
the
was before
CLI
that.
is the same CMD. Room as an admin.
Yes. So when you hit enter in the CLI, right? Enter. You're gonna have AWS access key ID. Just copy and paste the access key ID here, the one that we saw before, the one that I asked you to save in a safe place.
Oh, wow.
But teacher, when I make the user in a group, my user at the end doesn't have a key. The key that you show for CLI.
Immediately when you create the user, it shows you both keys immediately. It happens immediately.
Yeah, I see when I create it.
If you want to see the user's credentials, you can click on the user, okay?
Yes.
And then come here where it says security credentials.
Okay.
Yep, I have that.
Okay. So there you're gonna see the access key ID, but as you were not able to save them, you can create another here. Create.
Oh, okay. I will create again.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there you go. You see, you create another one. Access key here, right? Okay. So you would need this guy here, right? Copy and paste. And once you copy and paste, enter. AWS secret access key.
Teacher, and what was the first command that you write in the CMD?
AWS configure.
Okay.
You see it in my screen? It's right here.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So hit enter. Default region that's North Virginia. Leave it as is. Don't change anything. Enter again.
So in yours, I see US East. In mine, I see none. Is it the same?
You say none, then type US East 1. Just type what I have here. Don't put the brackets, right?
I
no
don't know
brackets. No brackets.
Yeah, I don't know how to get the access key.
The access key?
Yeah.
Okay. You come here where the user is, and then security credentials.
Okay, I found it.
And then create it here. This is the access key ID.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so enter this manually. If you see none, don't enter the brackets. It's just what is inside the brackets. Okay, in my case, it shows because I already configured this before. So once you configure it, you don't have to configure it again.
How can you go back to that line if you press enter by mistake? You have to start all over again?
Yes. Let me see here. Configure.
Default region name.
All right.
So, Professor, there are 18 of us in this class, and I would be interested to know how many of us are actually, with you at this, keeping up to where you are.
Default.
Because I'm only really hearing a few people speaking, and I mean, anyway.
I'm following along. I'm right where the instructor is at.
This is Ciara. I'm at default region name, but I don't know what to put in there.
Here. Okay, here. Okay, we put it here, and then you put here US.
US
East 1.
dash east dash 1.
Okay. And here you put JSON.
Default output format JSON. Okay.
Okay, JSON. Once you're there, your CLI is configured. Now you can create resources and access resources from the CLI.
JC code.
So
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah,
guys,
okay.
what you need, what you need for this is the access key ID and the secret access key. That's what you need. And that's what you get when you create the user. Okay.
This is EC2, right?
Huh?
I only entered the access ID.
Okay.
I didn't enter any secret access key.
Then you will now have access to your resources. You need to enter both.
Okay.
Okay, let me create another user, guys, real quick. Okay, let me delete this one. I don't need this Orlando. Okay, let me create another user. You come here and just give it a name, Orlando, right? Give it access both programmatically and from the console. Okay, now you can auto-generate a password or custom password, whatever you want, right?
I did all of that.
Okay, and here you're gonna ask the user to create a new password when they sign in the first time. Okay. Next, the permissions. We're gonna put that user in a group. We already created a group, right?
Yeah.
I did that.
Okay, we're gonna put the user inside that group. First time you create the group, you have to create both the group and the user. But once you create the group of the users, you can put them here. Okay. Now, next tags. Don't put anything. Don't put anything in the tags.
Okay, I did that.
Okay, and then you create the user.
Did that.
That's it. Now look at this. Look at this. Here,
Did that.
here
Yes.
you have the access key ID.
Oh, okay. Stop there. Stop there, please, because I have to keep looking at you and then going back to the. Okay. All right. So oh my God. Okay, hold on. So on the users, the groups. Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay. So where are the tags again?
The tags, no, we don't put any tags.
We don't put any tags.
No, no.
Okay, so I have my user. Professor, can I share my screen with you?
Go ahead.
All right, let me do that because that would really help me.
Access key.
Okay. All right, so here I am. Can you see my screen?
No, I don't see anything.
You don't see my screen yet? Okay, hold on. Let me do it again.
Secret.
Said I cannot share the screen while the other participants
let me stop sharing mine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Default region name.
Okay, can you let me
Still telling me I can't
can you
share.
share yours?
Okay, I will now. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. So here I am. Can you see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where do I go from there?
Where you go from there?
Yeah.
Okay, but I see that you didn't get. Did you get the access key and the secret key? Okay, delete that user. Delete that user, please. Okay, click on that. Click here, and delete the user. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, confirm that. Good. Add the user again. Add a user. Add a user here.
Yeah. Okay.
Give it a name, Martina, again. Give it access here.
Yeah.
Access here.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did that before.
Next.
Yeah. Did that. Yeah. Did this.
Okay.
Did this.
Okay. Good.
Did this. Okay. Yeah.
Next.
This is where I didn't know what to do. Okay.
No, next.
Next. Oh, next. Okay.
Okay, create user.
Okay. Yeah. All
Okay, right there. It's right there. That's
Oh,
the access key ID and the secret key. You have to save that. Don't lose it.
okay. Hold
Okay.
on.
That's what you have to paste in your CLI when they prompt you.
Okay.
Put the CLI. Okay. You can click on show secret access key.
Yes.
This is very private. Don't show it to anyone because they're gonna have access to your resources. So
Okay.
copy and paste that in the CLI when you prompt it to in the CLI.
Mm-hmm. Is that where I do the CMD and put that
Yeah.
in there? Oh,
Yes.
okay,
It should be
got
there. It should minimize somewhere. Okay, it's right there. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, just put AWS. No.
Oh.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Huh?
No, AWS only.
Uh-huh.
Just enter. Enter.
Uh-huh.
A moment. You haven't installed the CLI.
Oh.
Oh, you installed it. Good. Okay, just put AWS configure. AWS space configure. Okay, enter. Just grab the access. Wait. The access key ID.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have?
I
Because you
copied.
have-
Is it that?
Wait. You have the access key ID and the secret key. Which one is this one?
Okay, the one you told me to copy.
Okay, go back to the console, please.
Yeah, this.
No, that's the first one.
Okay. Oh, you mean
first
this one?
Yes.
Ah. Got
Okay,
it.
copy and paste.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, here it
Oh,
is.
you
over
have to
here.
open. Why did you close
Here,
that?
here.
You don't didn't minimize it? Okay, good.
Huh?
Yeah, good. Now enter.
Yeah. And
Grab
then
the
go back
other
and
one.
get it. Go and get the other one. Got it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So enter.
Yeah.
I just put US. That no. Small lowercase, all lowercase. US
Uh-huh.
dash east -1. Okay, enter. Now JSON, JSON. That's right.
Enter.
That's it. It's configured.
Oh.
That's
okay.
it. It's
Okay.
configured.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
No
What
problem.
I have a question. This is Ciara. What exactly did we just do? We're setting up security groups to control access to the HTML thing that we set up earlier.
Wait. I don't understand your question. Can you repeat that again?
What did we do just now in the command prompt? We were setting up security groups to control like what?
No,
Or
you
access?
are. Remember when you created the user that you give the user access programmatically and console? Remember?
Yeah.
We are accessing the account through the CLI using the access keys to access the resources. No one can have access to your account. No one, unless they have the access key and the secret key. No one. But when you created the user, you gave the user access to the resources programmatically. It means through the CLI. And that user has keys like password, it's a password, to access the resources through the CLI. Now you're configuring the CLI to manipulate your resources from the CLI. Now we're gonna create an EC2 instance from the CLI. You can create it from the console like we did on Wednesday, remember? We did on Wednesday, we created a server on the console. Now you can create a server from the CLI as well.
And Dunieski, just
Yes.
to understand the purpose, I mean, is this for kind of backup, full backup purposes? Meaning, if for whatever the reason your web access, gets, F up, then, you go to CLI and then, you do all the management through the CLI?
Yes, because administrators should be CLI people. Now, the objective of this is, the benefit of this is that CLI is faster than the console. It's much faster. Because
Okay.
I can put here, boom, 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 and I create an EC2 instance. Simple.
Okay.
I don't have to go step by step, choose AMI, choose this, choose security group, choose this, and it's gonna be simple, super simple. Now, I want you to watch me. Don't do it with me because we don't have time to do it, okay? I'm gonna create an EC2 instance from here. You can do the same at home. Your CLI is already configured, but we don't have time for that, okay? So always in a CLI, the first element of the command is
AWS.
the AWS, always the first one. The second one is the service, okay? And the third one is the operation that we're gonna do. What are we gonna do? We're going to create an EC2 instance, and the command is run instances. Okay, now we have to put the AMI ID, okay, image ID. Okay, the image ID, I can grab it from here. I can go to EC2 instance. And when I create an EC2 instance, I can grab it from here. You see, that's the ID. So I can copy. Okay, you can watch the video later and get it, okay? I can copy here. We're doing exactly the same as we are in the console, but it's gonna be from the CLI, okay? Now, I'm gonna create only one. I'm gonna go to my security groups, okay? The security group is down here. And I have one that I created here that I have access to. If you take a look at that, it has port 80, which for web browser, and port 22 for SSH. Okay, so the name is my SG. So I'm gonna come here to the CLI and put security groups. Of course, I have to put here before image ID, I have to put --. Okay, that's very important for the commands in AWS. --. Okay, security groups.
I don't know.
Right now, I don't have to put the region because by default it's gonna be here. Okay, and the one that I chose, right? So we are putting AWS, EC2 is the service, run instances is the command. What is it gonna do? It's gonna create an instance. We're gonna put the image ID. Remember, every time you create an EC2 instance, you have to have an AMI. It has to be there, okay? Don't panic if you see this for the first time, you don't understand it.
Where did you get the image ID from?
Okay, I got it from here. When I go to EC2 instance and I try to launch one, right? I try to launch one, it's right here. Okay, that is the image that if I create the EC2 instance like this, it's gonna happen the same. The same is gonna happen, right?
So if I launched an instance already and I didn't do it through the CLI, should I cancel it and then try to open one through the CLI?
You can do that if you want to.
Or how do I get this information from the instance that I already ran?
You can copy the image ID from the
image ID?
EC2 run.
Or you can create 4. We're gonna create 4 or 5 now. Now I'm gonna have here the instance type.
Image dash.
Instance type, we're gonna say T2 micro because we want it to be in the free tier, okay? T2 micro, that is this, okay? Exactly the same, you see? T2
And where
micro.
did you get the security groups information?
It's a security group that I created before,
Okay.
okay? Don't put the same name because my name it's not the same as yours,
Right.
okay? But don't follow me now. I mean, just don't do it now. Just follow me. It's better for you if you watch the video later.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna put here, what else do I need? Okay, count. I'm gonna create 10 instances, okay?
Can you copy before you press enter? Can you copy that line and put it in the chat?
Sure, why not? Okay, so now I hit enter. Let's see if it works. Group ID, group, security groups is invalid. The value cannot be empty. Okay, one moment. Okay, one moment. Let me do security groups IDs. Let me choose IDs instead of let me choose this, the security group ID instead of the name. Security group ID instead of the name. Let me choose the ID. Actually works like that. See if it works like this. Okay, what's going on here? All right, let me do something here. All right, let me grab this guy. Let's see if it works this way. Ground instances, image ID. Okay, there's something that is not right here. Okay. Let's have a break of 10 minutes and we'll find out what's going on here. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay.
Professor? Oh, I guess he has his mic muted. I figured out, well, not including the security group, I'm still trying to get that to work, but I got the command to work.
Yeah, how do you do it?
I put it in the chat. The only thing that I have not added to it is the security group, but I'm still trying to get that part to work out because
yeah, but remember I think I did it on Monday in the afternoon class. Were you in the class when I did it on Monday?
No, I'm from the other class.
Yeah, I did it on Monday in the afternoon.
Oh, I don't really remember much of doing this. Like,
yeah, I did it on Monday. I did it on Monday and it worked. I don't know why it's not working now.
You mean in the other class?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we didn't do this. No?
Yeah, I'm not remembering that. Maybe I'm crazy, but yeah, like.
No, maybe.
No, we didn't.
Then I did it in the morning. I did it in one class.
We did create security groups, I believe, Wednesday in the morning class, but it wasn't through the CLI. So like me trying to find where that is specifically is a bit of a challenge. Oh, never mind, I found it.
Yeah, I created one with the security group and it worked. I don't know why it's not working now.
Let me see.
Maybe it's just something here.
Okay, I got it to work with the security group.
Yeah, maybe it's just something here.
I'll post it, but just know that anyone has to change the security group, like the last part. So to find yours, you could just go to EC2 and then scroll down on the bottom left to network and security, and it should pop up. I'm using the same one we did on Wednesday for the web server.
Yeah.
So
you said you're using the default one, security group?
Well, the one that I put on the chat was the one that I had created on Wednesday, like when we were doing the web server one. Yeah, we created one to do that. So like if you go to EC2,
okay,
bottom left, scroll down to like security groups, click on that. You should have one. I mean, I named mine web server.
Yeah, so did I. Okay, thank you.
So you copy the security group ID, and then you just copy what I did, and then just the last part, just change it, starting from the SG and then so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me know if it works.
Mine is running as good. How the hell did you get out of here?
Two different instances, data MJP, instance type, EM. Security group.
It worked for me. Thanks, Ryan.
No problem. No problem, man. Yeah, just remember to terminate it.
I'm gonna let it initialize and then I'll stop it.
ANI.
Very wise.
Oh, you know what?
I am still so confused.
Hey guys, let's continue. It's not working for me. I don't know why. I'm doing exactly what I've done so far. And everything. I even know this by heart. I don't know. It's not working for me. It's saying that embodied group not found. The security group, it doesn't exist. I don't know. It's telling me this weird thing. You know, it's a good thing that it worked for you guys. All right.
It's still not working for me.
Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue. So what you have to do when you want to create and register an AMI is just make a copy of that AMI from the EC2 instance. Just right click, and there's a section that says copy AMI, and then you can create that. With that AMI, you can create an exact copy of that EC2 in another region. Okay, because regions are AMI are per availability zone. You cannot use the same AMI in a different region. You have to make a copy of it. Okay, that's the way you can do it. Okay, so these are some of the compute instances types that you don't need to know them, but just for your information, you can see them in when you create an EC2 instance and you get to the instance type, you can see them there. Okay. Okay. So very important for your exam, you have 4 types of EC2 instances. You have the on-demand, spot instances, reserved instances, and dedicated hosts. And if you see down here, I added this, savings plans. I don't know if that's in the exam yet. It's very new. It's a new service that was added to even save more money in AWS. But I put a link here, and it's going to be in your quiz for today as well. Don't forget savings plans, okay? On-demand, spot, reserve instances, dedicated hosts. When it's Amazon Linux and Ubuntu only, is billed by second, and any other operating system is billed by the hour, okay? So per second billing, you pay for what you use only, on-demand, reserved, and spot forms. Instances running for irregular periods of time, allow customers to focus on their application instead of maximizing usage to the hour. And AWS regions and availability zones have this, Amazon Linux and Ubuntu, okay? Now the cost, on-demand instances, you pay for what you use per second billing. Spot instances, what is a spot instance? Is spare space that, spare capacity that AWS has is not used. So you can bid like an auction, right? You can bid, and the spot price is based on supply and demand. It's per second billing. Reserved instances, this is for predictable patterns that you can reserve an instance for 1 or 3 years. And you pay low or no upfront fee. Overall cost is lower and per second billing as well. And dedicated host is paid the on-demand rate for every hour the host is active in the account. This is mainly for government companies, all that they have dedicated hosts for that. Okay, you may hear dedicated host and dedicated instances. The difference is that dedicated host is much bigger, and you have dedicated instances inside the dedicated host. So let's see a dedicated host like a hotel and a dedicated instance as a room of the hotel. Okay. So Amazon EC2 pricing options, benefits, on-demand instance is a low cost and it's flexible. It's very cheap. Spot instances is even cheaper than on-demand. Is up to 90%. You can save up to 90% of on-demand instances, and it's for large scale and dynamic workload. Very important that you know the use cases of each type of EC2 instances. Reserved instances, predictability ensures compute capacity is available when needed. If you know that your company has a predictable pattern throughout the year, you can reserve the instance for 1 year and you're going to save a lot of money, up to 75%. Dedicated host, you can save money on licensing costs, help meet compliance and regulatory requirements. So you can save that, okay?
Professor, can you reserve an instance for less than a year? Let's say that your busiest time of the year is the last quarter. Can you just reserve instances for that period?
If you know that your heaviest is in the last quarter, then you have to have on demand.
Okay.
You can have 1 year or 3, not 2 years, not 6 months.
Okay.
Okay.
Good question, Duneski. If you reserve, this is Oscar, if you reserve for, say, 2 years, and then on the second year, so you've paid the price in advance, okay? So I've paid, I don't know, $300,000 for my next 2 years of computing power. Mm-hmm. Then second year comes, super fantastic, offers from Amazon, and Amazon reduces the price of computing. Does it apply as well to anything that I've paid?
Okay, first you don't reserve for 2 years. It's 1 or 3.
3,
right?
Okay, 3.
Okay, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so you reserve for 3 years. I paid $300,000 for 3 years. Come second year, and the second year, the cost of computing, is reduced in 0.05, dollars per second. Okay, so, and I paid in advance my computing power for 3 years. So if there are any discounts on the regular price starting the second year, say, do I get as well, that benefit?
Why would you get a discount?
Why? Because again, Amazon is discounting their prices.
No, you're reserving. Can you get a discount?
I don't care.
Can you get a discount for a car that you lease 3 years?
I mean, again,
you're getting for 3 years up to 75% of the price. Why would you get more discounts?
Well, because again, I'm just asking, it may be that.
Do you think that Amazon is going to make zero money? I mean, they give you, if you go up front, right? All up front, and you reserve for 3 years, why would they give you more discounts?
Because you're saying that the discount is massive, in 3 years in advance, much more than it's going to be, on a potential discount year over year.
Okay. Let's do it again. I mean, I think that your question makes sense. But if you lease a car that is, you lease it for 3 years, but you buy it $20,000. Let's say that the car that you bought for 3 years, they all of a sudden they have a discount like $2,000. Can you get that discount?
Yeah, no. I hear what you say. Again, it makes sense, as long as, the upfront discount that I have, for the 3 years is
Yeah.
much bigger than the assumed, ongoing yearly discounts.
That's right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't pay in advance if I know that, potentially next year is going to be discounted, 15%. You know what I mean?
Yes. And also Amazon doesn't discount the price all the time. They have discounted for 67 times in 14 years, but it doesn't mean that they're going to discount it while you are on the contract. So then you have to talk to Amazon to see, but you're reserving for 3 years, right? You're saving tons of money right off the bat at 75%, right? With full upfront. If it is partial upfront, you save less. You save less. I mean, this is business, right? They give you discounts, but I don't think they're gonna give you more discounts because you're already getting a lot of discounts for reserving for 3 years. I believe we're humans. People understand each other by communicating with each other. So probably if you can talk to Amazon and just give you a reason, or I mean, can you help me with some discounts because the price is different now? I don't know, maybe they do something for it, but you're reserving, you're locked in a contract for 3 years.
Okay.
All right. So on-demand instances, this is for short-term, spiky, or unpredictable workloads, right? Unpredictable because you don't know what's going to happen, and then but you have the capacity there to cope with that particular demand. Just in case something happens, right? That's on demand. On demand is unpredictable. Don't forget that. Short term. Thanksgiving, Independence Day, Christmas, all that, right? Spot instances is with flexible start and end times. You can start, very important for your exam. Very important, okay? Whenever you see flexible start and end times, that's spot, right? Because they may give you a scenario of a company that needs some instances that they can start and stop at flexible times during the day. What kind of instance is that? So they put on-demand, spot, dedicated, and reserved. That's spot for sure. Don't forget that. Very important, okay? Unpredictable on-demand, right? Flexible start and end times, that's spot, right? Also applications only. This little chart that you see here, memorize that. Memorize it. At least understand it. Because that's going to be in your exam for sure. Applications only, feasible at very low compute prices, users with urgent computer needs for large amount of additional capacity. If you need additional capacity, if a company needs additional capacity, what the company needs is spot instances. Okay, so keywords here: flexible start and end times, additional capacity, feasible at very low compute prices. The cheapest of all is spot instances, up to 90%. Okay. Reserved instances: steady, steady, or predictable. If you know that throughout the year, like I've said many times, throughout the year, your demand is going to be high, so you can reserve instances. Application that require reserved capacity, including disaster recovery, users able to make upfront payments to reduce total computing cost even further. You can go full upfront, partial upfront, or no upfront, okay? And then dedicated hosts, you can bring your own license, compliance with regulatory restrictions, usage and licensing tracking, control instance placement. This dedicated is especially for companies that they need servers for them only for them. It's not shared, it's dedicated. If you take a look at the console, EC2 console, when you create an EC2 instance, there's a section that says tenancy. Tenancy, you can have dedicated or shared, okay? So far, we've done shared instances, right? But you can have dedicated for you. They're more expensive. Billing and instance computation, clock hours of server time per second or per hour. Resources incur charges only when running. If you're not running, if EC2 is stopped or terminated, you don't get charged. Okay. Instance configuration, physical capacity of the instance, pricing varies with AWS region, operating system, number of cores, memory. I think we saw that already. We talked about that the price in different regions is not the same. It may vary, and we have to see. I think that not in the case of EC2 instances, because EC2 instances are available in every single region, but there are some services that are not available. So there's something that have to be considered. Purchasing types, we have the on-demand, reserved instances. With the on-demand is a minimum of 60 seconds. So if you use it for 10 seconds, you're gonna be charged for 60 seconds, okay? That's something that you have to remember because the minimum is 60 seconds, okay? The minimum they charge is 60 seconds. Reserved instances, you can go full, partial, no upfront. What is this? Oh my God. And it is 1 or 3 year term, okay? No 2 years, no 6 months. Spot instances, you bid for unused Amazon EC2 capacity. This is spare capacity that Amazon doesn't use. So they put in auctions, right? Now, the problem with this spot is that you may lose it if the price, the bid increases, you may lose your spot instances. So don't have a spot instances if you have sensitive data that you may lose. That's not good. So when this happens, when the instance is gonna be terminated by AWS, you will receive a 2 minutes notice before it terminates. So you have 2 minutes to move fast as possible and save all the data and everything that you have. So I recommend putting some backups in place just in case the bid price increases. If you are outbid, you can lose all your instances, and the instance can be interrupted if spot price exceeds maximum. So you have to be careful with that. Okay.
So, Professor, go ahead.
So, if you've lost everything, right? Can you pay AWS like to retrieve everything that you've lost during the bid closing?
No, AWS doesn't mess up with your data. The data is yours. AWS will never access your data. They don't care what you have, right? But they put features in place for you to do your due diligence. You should have backups. You should have automatic or manual backups to your EC2 instances. If you lose it, is your problem. Okay, so you have to have that in place. EC2 just gives you, Amazon gives you a 2 minutes window. You have to do what you have to do in 2 minutes. Okay, that's the disadvantage of having spot instances. Very bad.
But let me pause you for a second and to understand, the use case. So here I am with a website that is, fantastic, and I need to grow, and I don't want to reserve, instance in advance. I need, a spot, for tomorrow. So I go to the marketplace and I see that, these new, 2 new computers, I want to get in. Okay. So I place a bid for that, and, I get, the winning bid, and I get, those computing, instances, within my overall, platform, right, that I have on the cloud. So why is it, the story with data that you were saying? Because I don't get it. I mean, I'm right now holding my data on my instances, and when I've purchased, new instances, on a spot, is because I want to grow, my platform. I've got, the winning bid, and this is what I got. So what is the matter with data there? That I'm going to lose my data? I didn't get that.
If you terminate your data, if you terminate your EC2 instance, you lose everything. If you have data in your computer and you lose your computer, or your computer breaks down and there's no way to repair it, what happened to your data?
So yeah, but that doesn't. So that is either if it's a spot or any other thing, right? So I mean, if it is same, if I have any data on any instance that I'm not backing up, then I
No.
will use.
Yeah, but the problem is that on demand, they're not interrupted by anyone. There's no bidding on it. Okay, you have to have backup in all of them. But the problem with the spot instances is that can be interrupted at any time if you're
Okay. So hear me out. So this is for some, even my services will not be running a particular instance. So this instance will be idle. Hence, Amazon takes that instance and put it on the spot market, and then there comes a third party that bids for that and gets that going. And this is where Amazon sends to me an email saying, hey, watch out, your instance that is not running for the past 3 months or whatever it is, it's on the spot market, has been bid, hence you have to take the data out. Is that the use case?
Yeah, but they don't tell you that you haven't been running your EC2 instance for a long time. They tell you you have been outbid, and you have 2 minutes to do something about it. That's simple. Either you pay more, you outbid the last bidder, or you lose everything. You have to do something about it, right? But why people would get spot instances? First, because they want to save money, right? Because you save like 90% of on-demand instances, and you also need additional capacity, okay? Or you need to start or end the spot instances flexibly, whenever you want. That's the good thing about spot instances, okay? Which is in some cases is much better than the others. But the problem is that if you are outbid, you are at risk of losing everything. That happens with all the instances. I mean, it happens with on-demand, reserve. If you don't back it up, you may lose everything. But that's why you have to be highly available. You have to create backups for everything. But spot instances, they are special. They are special. You may lose everything just in a second if you don't act quickly, because it's in the market. Bidding all the time. If no one bids on your EC2 instances, you're okay. But if someone wants to get additional capacity, your instance might be at risk because they might outbid you.
Okay? Yeah, but from a business, from a security perspective and everything, that's crazy. That is crazy that I'm as an administrator in my company, have to be aware that I may lose some of my data, and some of my some of my internal secrets or whatever, because I've been outbid in something that is on a spot.
Oscar, that's why you have to know about AWS, and you have to choose the right instance. That's told to you even before you choose anything. They tell you straightforward. This is spare capacity that we don't use, and it's there for you to bid on it if you want it. Okay.
No, fair enough. I would imagine that I bid for a spare capacity that is unused and hasn't been used. Hence, empty instance. An empty instance that hasn't been used. So Amazon, purchased 30,000 new machines. 2,000 of them haven't been used in the past 6 months. Hence, they need to put it on the spot market, and that is empty. That means anyone can buy it, and once they buy it and once they place a bid, it is on their premise, on their cloud, okay, for their company, on their data and everything. But okay, no one can affect that. You know what I mean?
What makes you think that it was empty before? What did you think? Perhaps when you bought it, you outbid someone else. You never know. You never know. Probably the price that you see is outbidding someone else's.
Yeah,
you never know.
Okay, we can take it offline. No worries. I don't want to steal people.
It's just business.
You know what? I have the same question.
It's just business.
I have the same question.
Okay.
So if you are if let's say I have a demo and I want to use an instance that it's perhaps faster or has more capacity that I want to have right now. So I bid for an instance and I get that instance. I would assume that you get it for a certain amount of time, right?
Until someone outbids you. It's not. It's
I
not
feel
for.
that doesn't make
you-
sense because if I
Doesn't make sense. I don't
Why
get it.
doesn't make?
I'm
Why?
paying, I'm
Why
paying for
doesn't?
something that I cannot use because someone else will outbid me. So what's the purpose of a spot instance then?
Save money.
How am I
Yeah, but
gonna
you don't save
Okay,
money.
okay, okay. Are you reading the use case? Are you reading the use case? Okay. With the other guys, you cannot stop and end flexibly. Okay. If you want to stop it or start it flexibly at flexible times, that is spot instances. So it has its benefits, right? It has very low compute prices because it's you save up to 90%. Also, if you need additional capacity on top of what you have already, spot instances is a good bet.
So, but why
Yeah, but-
why would I want it put?
Don't
Why
use
would you
it.
do it?
My
Why would you do it?
Guys,
At the risk of-
guys, it's up to you. Don't use it. That business, that's the Amazon business. It's up to you. If you want to save more money, you choose spot. If you don't want to choose spot, you don't choose spot. But those are the rules. If you choose spot, that's spare capacity that I have. I put it in the market for the highest bidder. Okay. And if you choose it, that's okay. But you have to face the consequences that you might lose your data if someone outbids you. You have to
Yeah,
know
but
that.
it's like coming back to the cars example. Is that you tell me, you're gonna buy, a $100 car, but the risk is that tomorrow it may not, it may not, start your engine.
Okay.
So why would I buy a car if I know that I'm gonna start my engine probably tomorrow?
Okay.
So that is nuts.
You are comparing this as a regular auction to a regular auction. Regular auctions, once you buy, is yours, right? Once you bid on it and no one outbids you, is yours, right?
No,
But you cannot compare
to me it's
that
more like
with
a
this.
rental. To me, it's
You
more
cannot
like a
compare that
rental
with this.
car.
This
To me,
is
it's more
different.
like a rental car, right? So you go to the rental car place. You say, I want to rent a car, and here are my bids. Let's say they have it for $10.
Yeah.
The whole week for $10. So by the time I get to the rental place, they say, "Whoops, sorry, someone else outbid you for $100."
Yeah, but that's rental. That's not purchase.
No, it's the same thing. We're renting space here. This is just rental.
No, if I rent something, no one can take it from me. I have it for a period. It's a rental. That's different.
But it's a bid, right? So I'm bidding for that rental. So I bid for the rental for $10 and someone else outbids me when I get to the rental place and I say, "Whoops, sorry, you cannot do it."
But you don't bid for rentals.
And it's an
This is purchase. Your purchase is something.
And I am trying to put an assumption here, so I understand apples to apples here. So if, I still don't understand why they have the spot instances. You really don't have the availability to use it if someone else outbids you.
But if they outbid you and you have your data backed up, can't you just buy another spot server and use that as an extension to the product that you already have?
Yeah, you can do that, of course.
So that would be a good use case for a spot.
Yeah, and then the backup, you put in the new instance.
So the pro is that you're saving money. The
saving money.
That you're obviously it's a little unstable, but if you have the backup of your information, then you could just do it again with another spot server.
Saving money, and has this flexibility, of stopping is starting anytime you want during the day, and also you just can't outbid the highest bidder and continue with that. Still, you're saving a lot of money. It's just it's a benefit, but it's business. It's the business model. Or you're saving tons of money,
It's an opportunity to use it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it doesn't go in line with our way of thinking of daily life. That
what we think is fair.
It's like
Yeah,
on eBay,
that's right.
on eBay, when you bid on something and the bid is over, the auction is over, it's yours, right? No one can take it from you, right? But this is different. You are getting Amazon's, AWS's spare capacity. Is their capacity, it's not mine. This is not gonna be mine. It's their capacity that they are giving to me when I pay for it, and it is on the market. If someone pays more than me, it's gonna be taken from me. So I have 2 minutes to do it. That's told to, I mean, you're told that straightforward before you even start doing anything. That's the consequences. You have to have backup in place. If you have backup in place, you are all set. You don't have any problem.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to do with spot instances is to have a backup in place. Yes, and you're still saving money. If someone outbids me, that's okay. I buy another one, or I can outbid the bidder.
I think too can be a good option used for testing labs or something temporary.
Yeah, it says it here. You know, where was it?
It was J3.
So it's somewhere. Yeah, for testing somewhere. I saw it somewhere. For testing. All right, it can be used for testing too.
Yeah, for example, if you need a temporary machine with high performance that you want to try an application for demo or for showing somebody, you can use that. For that. It's
but for testing is also on demand as well.
Yeah, but if you want to save money, use for demo or show example, you can use that. It's a good deal.
Yeah. So number of instances, the provision multiple instances to handle peak loads and shut them down when they are no longer needed. Pay for only the capacity that you actually use. Okay. Load balancing uses elastic load balancing to distribute traffic among Amazon EC2 instances. I think we spoke about this already. Can the person that has the Brandon, Maria, can you mute the mic? Urbano?
Yeah, I'll mute it now. Thank you.
So you calculate monthly cost based on hours the load balancer runs, data load balancer process. Even though the load balancer is a load balancer, but it has to do with the AWS EC2, because if you take a look at here in the EC2 console, you have a lot of services here in the sidebar here. A lot of things here. By the way, savings plan is right here. Spot is right here. You can have schedule instances that you can stop every day at 5 p.m. and start the other day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. if you want to. Also here you have the volumes, snapshots. If you want to take a snapshot of your volume or snapshot of EMI, of course, all the data is saved in a volume. Okay, a volume is like a removable thumb drive, like a thumb drive. You can attach it to an EC2 instance or detach it, whatever you want, but all the information is there. So you can create a snapshot of that particular volume and then create another instance with that volume. Okay. You have the security group, elastic IPs, placement groups, key pairs, network interfaces, and here we have the load balancer. So even the load balancer is a service on its own, it is part of the EC2 instances because it works with the EC2 instances. Okay, so here, one moment. Here it says that you can be billed depending on the hours the load balancer runs. So load balancer is distributing the traffic. You're gonna be billed that. The data the load balancer processes, you know, the load balancer is distributing the data. Don't forget that. And if we have time today, I might create 2 EC2 instances and a load balancer in front of them to distribute the traffic to them. Okay, use Amazon CloudWatch to monitor instances. So CloudWatch is a tough guy in Amazon, in AWS. You can have either basic monitoring, which is by default and is free, right? Or you can have detailed monitoring. Detailed monitoring that you can have intervals every 1 minute. You can have metrics your way. For basic monitoring, it's only 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, right? Every 5 minutes you get metrics, right? And of course it has its limitation because it's basic. But if you have detailed monitoring that is not free, you have fixed monthly rate for 7 pre-selected metrics, pre-recorded once a minute. So once a minute and prorated partial months. Just, you know, if you start on the 15th or 16th or 17th of the month, then you're gonna get a prorated charge, okay? Like any other business, any other, you know, service that you're paying for, like your phones or your insurance, whatever, or your rental, house rental. So you can even go further and get a high resolution metrics for 1 second. Every 1 second you get the metrics, but that's something even more advanced and something even more expensive. But basically, that's something that you have to remember. The basic monitoring it's free and it is every 5 minutes, and the detailed monitoring is not free. You have to pay for it, and it's every minute. Okay, something that you have to remember. And this is to monitor the health of your EC2 instance. Auto scaling is free. Don't forget that. And what it does is automatically adjust number of Amazon EC2 instances in your deployment, and incurs no additional charge beyond CloudWatch fees. Of course, if you have CloudWatch that is detailed, you're gonna have some charges, okay? Elastic IP address is there's no charge for one elastic IP address associated with the running instance, okay? If you have an elastic IP address that is not associated with the running instance, you're gonna be charged, okay? So only one is free. The rest of them, you have to pay for them. But one is free as long as it is associated with the running instance, okay? So when do you need an elastic IP? Okay, what happens when you stop or when you stop an instance, you're gonna get the different, Brandon, can you mute the phone, Oscar, please? When you stop an instance and you restart an instance, Brandon. Hello, can you mute the phone, Brandon?
Fuck, dingy.
Yeah, you can mute yourself in Zoom and still use your phone.
Okay. So, can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you. So you don't, when you need an elastic IP, every time you just stop your instance and restart the instance, you're gonna be assigned a new IP address, right? So what you can do is, if you wanna keep the same IP address, you can associate an elastic IP address to your EC2 instance, and it doesn't matter how many times you stop it. Every time you restart it, you're gonna get the same IP address, the elastic IP address. Okay.
This is the same to use DHCP or a static IP address.
It's a static IP address. An elastic IP is a static IP address.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't have a static IP address, your EC2 instance is going to be assigned a different IP address every time you stop the instance, which is not completely good because, you know, it is a different IP address, right? Okay. So pricing for operating systems and software packages includes OS prices and instance prices. Partner with other vendors for certain software, requires licenses from vendors from other software, and bring your existing license through specific vendor programs. This is specifically for Windows, that you have some licenses, and then you can bring your own license and use it in AWS. Okay, so spot instance hibernation. You can hibernate your EVS backed instances. EVS is Elastic Block Store. When you have a backup you're backing up your EC2 instance data in Elastic Block Store. If there's any interruption, you can hibernate your instances. Okay, so that's another state that EC2 instances have, which is called hibernation. Okay, you can resume your instances when capacity is available. You can use an encrypted Amazon EVS volume as a root volume. By default, Amazon EVS volumes, or I think, let me check here. When you create you have here, let me see, an EC2 instance, right here, and then choose the type and the storage here. You see here, by default, it's not encrypted. You see here, it's not encrypted, but you can encrypt it, right? You can select the AWS EVS encryption by default, right? Or you can create your own encryption, right? You can create your own KMS encryption, okay? But that's something more advanced in security encryption. Or you can create a volume here and add another one, an EVS volume, and you can back it up with this guy. Instead of this one, this is a root volume. What happens to your root volume when your instance disappears? Your root volume will go away too, okay? So don't ever store your information in the root volume, because if you lose your instance, you're gonna lose everything, okay? So I recommend backing it up with EVS. Please encrypt it, right? Encrypt it, and that's much better, okay? Now, if for any chance this is not encrypted and you want to make a copy, of this guy, you want to make a copy of that, you can copy that particular EVS volume, or make a snapshot of the volume and encrypt it in the process, and then you can encrypt the snapshot of a volume that is not encrypted. So you can do that too. But when you create the instance, you can real quick, you can encrypt the volume immediately here, okay? But something that you have to understand is once you lose the EC2 instances, this volume will be deleted as well, okay? So you have to make a backup of this as well. So check the documentation for requirements. This is very important. The documentation of every single service is what guides you in any process, okay? Documentation, always documentation, okay? Hibernation needs an agent, okay? You have to install the agent in the spot instance if you want to hibernate, okay? So in review, Amazon stands for Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. Amazon EC2 is a computer in the cloud, supports most servers, operating systems, ability to launch one instance at a time, or launch a whole fleet, add instances as needed, terminate when not needed. Amazon EC2 provides a wide selection of instance types optimized to fit different use cases. And therefore, basically 5 ways to pay for Amazon EC2 instances: on demand, reserved instances, spot instances, dedicated hosts, and savings plans. Like here, when you come here to EC2 instances, you have this guy here. Just in case you're not surprised in the exam, savings plans is another way to save money, okay? So you can come here and read a little bit more about this guy, okay? Amazon EC2 instance, a demo, we don't need that. Okay, very important. I will explain the lab now. So in this lab, you will launch and configure your first Microsoft Windows virtual machine running on EC2 instances. This would include Amazon EC2 and the security group. So you're gonna do that in the lab. It's gonna be lab 3. Okay, it's gonna be lab 3. Labs have not been ordered in number, one after in sequence. It's just you're gonna do lab 3 now, then you're gonna do lab 4, and then lab 2, depending on the content of the course, right?
Is that through Vocarium? Yeah, I think.
Vocarium, yes, Vocarium.
Okay, perfect. And you said it wasn't in order, so we start with 3. We haven't done any other ones.
Today you're gonna receive an email telling you what lab you need to do and the link.
Okay.
You have to go. It's lab
perfect.
3.
We have it. This is the first one we're gonna do. We haven't done any.
Yes. No.
Okay, great. That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah, this is the first one. Okay. So you're gonna launch a web server with termination protection right here. When you create an EC2 instance, this is for security purposes. When you don't want someone to accidentally delete your EC2 instance, what you can do here is enable termination protection here. See here? So if I try to terminate this instance, it will tell me that I cannot delete it because it has accidental termination protection. So this is a way to secure your EC2 instance from people deleting it accidentally. So that's pretty good. You're gonna create a VPC with the security group, modify the security group and allowed HTTP access, which is, what port is that? What port do we have to open to get this access?
443.
That's HTTPS.
80.
480.
This is 80, yes.
Yeah. Okay, resize your Amazon EC2 instance. How do we resize that? By just changing the instance type. Explore EC2 limits and test termination protection and terminate the EC2 instance, okay? The final product of your lab is gonna be this one. You're gonna have the web server, security group, and your availability zone, okay? Nothing that we haven't done so far. I think that we already, yes, go ahead.
I have a question. In the part where you put the code before you make a new instance, you can put a PowerShell command too, like a Linux?
Yes, you can do that too.
Okay, great.
Okay, so the cost optimization, reduce cost, pay only for what you need and when you need it, okay?
Professor, I have a quick question. When do we do the lab?
In your house, home, today, okay? We don't have time to do it here. Usually in class, when we have, when I teach in Miami-Dade College, we have 8 hours class, an 8-hour class. We do the lab in class, but we don't have time for that.
Okay.
It takes time. But you have the instructions there. Vocarium is gonna give you the instructions. You don't have to use your own account. Vocarium will create a sandbox for you on AWS, and you don't have to pay for anything.
Teacher, I have another question. After the class finish at the end of this month, we will still have access to the Google Classroom and the slide too?
I recommend, do you have a way to download the slides?
I take screenshots, but do you have them like as PowerPoints?
I actually, what I do is every time, like if you set up to take notes, you should receive an email with a link that will take you to the slides with the notes.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you can download that as PDF.
Yeah, but you don't take a note in every slide.
But you're still getting the slides, which is what you're asking for.
Yeah, but my question is, how long we will still have access to the tools,
As long as I want.
Yeah, but you have a specific time.
Not that I thought about. Yeah, but I'm planning for you guys to take the exam in, early June. I don't want you to take the exams of much further out, because you have to take the exam when you have the content fresh. Don't wait too long. Don't wait too long, because when we start with the practices exams, you're gonna be ready. You don't need to do it mid-June or anything. Okay, so on early June, probably 29 is Friday, probably June 1st, June 3rd, you're gonna be ready to take the exam. Okay, what I ask you guys to do is to diligently study every day. Okay, don't leave anything for the last minutes. Okay, we continue lowering the TCO through cost optimization, economic case improves.
Professor, before you continue.
Yes.
So let's say I want to study and I just want to use the recordings that you use through YouTube. Is there any way I could access those?
They are on YouTube.
Like, do you have a page?
Channel.
Tech.
Yeah. It's that's gonna be there forever. I'm not planning to removing that.
I have a question. For the, I guess
Put the link in the chat, please.
I put it in the chat.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. So for the people who are not technically in this class but are just listening to it to kind of help with the other certification, would you? Because I also want to take the practitioner. I guess, do you think just the class time could help facilitate that to get that cert as well?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. But the problem is that someone that is not enrolled in this class will not get the benefits of the people that are enrolled.
Yes, of course. I'm not trying to get something. I'm not trying to get a freebie that I didn't sign up for, but I'm just saying, like, I'm willing to pay the $150 because I feel like I can kind of get this cert as well.
No, it's not 150. It's only 100.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm still saying, like, I feel like I could actually, like, feasibly also do this one as well. Yeah,
now, the students in the morning, they have a benefit that the students in the afternoon don't have. The students in the morning can't take with me the class in the afternoon if they want advanced, and they're gonna have a benefit because when they take the cloud practitioner, they're gonna get a 50% discount for the next exam, right? So I'm not sure if you can get a 50% discount in the associate level to go down and take the cloud practitioner with the 50% off. Because usually it's to take you forward, like for associates, if you're in the associate for associates or for professionals. But I have no idea if you can use it in the basic one.
I mean, what I was going to do was just get the practitioner, then get the SAA one, the architect one.
The SSA one, you're going to get it for free.
Yes, I know, but that's kind of my point. Like, I was willing to pay for the practitioner and then, like, in June, and then study for the architect.
The architect we want to take it before July 1st.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, and around the same time that my classmates here, I guess you could say, are going to take their practitioner, I want to take that one because just like there's some people in this class that go to both class, I kind of want to join them in doing that. I don't care about the money per se. I just care about the knowledge.
Yes. Okay, so we continue. So we have for the 4 pillar of cost optimization, very important, the 4 pillars: right sizing, reserved instances, increased elasticity, and monitor and improve. So don't forget that the 4 pillars of cost optimization: right sizing, reserved instances, increased elasticity, and monitor and improve. Right sizing is because when you have to know, when to choose the right size of your instances to save money, right? When you reserve, you save more. That's one of the the pricing model, the pricing policy of AWS. One of the points is you pay less when you reserved more, right? The more you reserve, the less you pay. The more you save. Increase elasticity. This is important too to save money. And monitor and improve. Monitor is the one that gives you an idea of how healthy your instances are. Okay, so the right sizing, we have to select the appropriate instance type. Downsize instances, just in case you're using extra capacity that you don't need, downsize them. Or if you have more than you need, just reduce the amount of instances as well. You can leverage Amazon CloudWatch metrics to monitor your instances and have an idea of how well you're performing or your instances are performing. That's pretty good. And right size, then reserve. Okay. Once you have the right size, then you can go ahead and reserve the instances that you need. Okay. The best practice is right size, then reserve. Okay. Now you have here on-demand reserved spot instances. Dedicated, dedicated is very private. It's for specific sectors. Sometimes the government, that they need dedicated ones. And spot here, reserve, you have a predictable pattern throughout the year, and you have spikes here. Yes, and unpredictable patterns here. Okay, so spiky workloads paid by the hour. No long-term commitments, steady state workloads pay upfront. If you want to, you can save 50-75% in the hourly rate. Bid for unused Amazon EC2 capacity. For time-insensitive workloads, time doesn't matter. You can start it, you can stop any way you want. So time doesn't matter. And high-sensitive workloads in your VPC, isolated steady-state workloads. Okay, don't forget the use cases of these 4 purchase types. Okay. So pay only for what you use. You know that already. On-demand, elastic provisioning, control, and security. Okay. Now, reserve instances, right? So we have Amazon Compute Cloud EC2, Amazon RDS, Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon Redshift, Amazon Elastic Cache. So reserved instances it's not limited to MVC2 instances. You can also reserve capacity for RDS and the other 3. Okay, so the commitment level is 1 or 3 years. Okay. Don't be fooled in the exam by telling you 6 months. You want to reserve for 6 months or 7 months or 1 year and a half. There's no other commitment than 1 or 3 years. Very important. Okay. So you can save up to 75% and even more savings depending on the specific service that you're using, the region, the type, so. Reserve instance coverage, it cover always on resources, always on, they're always on. And the target is 70-80% coverage, always on. Okay. So you should, that's the target that you should be on. Okay. Now, the increased reserved instance utilization, the known architectures, level standard reserve instances, flexibility to increase utilization, growing or changing architectures, leverage convertible reserved instances across. What is a convertible? It's a instance that can be converted within that commitment of 1 or 3 years, you can convert it to a different instance type or change anything that you want to change in your instances. You have some regional benefits, consolidated billing, reservation, not critical. You can merge and split RIs as needed. You can target 95% utilization rate. Okay, don't forget that convertible, you can change the instance type or the capacity of that instance in that reserved period. Okay, that's what it means. So elasticity, using an instance when you need it, turning it off when you don't. So that's the best practice, okay? If you need it, use it. If you don't need it, stop it, right? Stop it, don't use it, okay? Because you're gonna be, even if you are not using it and it's running, you're gonna be charged for it, okay? That's very important. Turn off non-production instances, dev, test. These guys, if you're not using them, turn them off, okay? For production, yes, you have to keep it running. But development and testing, no, you don't need that, okay? Auto-scaling production, use auto-scaling to scale up and down based on demand and usage. For example, spikes, okay? The target for this thing should be about 20 to 30% of Amazon EC2 instances. They're running on demand or spot, okay? This is for production instances. So the rule of thumb here is that you should target 20 or 30% of your Amazon EC2 instances running on demand or spot, and you should be looking to maximize elasticity within this particular group, on demand or spot. Now the monitor, the elasticity, I'm sorry, more smaller instances versus fewer larger instances. Okay. Now, when you have a big large, right? Sorry. Big large, you know how much you're paying. You have 29 M4.large. This is an instance type at 0.12 an hour. How much are you paying? $2,505.60 per month, right? But if you have 59 small ones at 0.052 an hour, then you pay like $300 less. So it's better to have more smaller ones than have a large one. Okay, it's even it's even better for decoupling, you know, for safeguarding your data and your instances to have more smaller ones than the big large. Okay. That's something that you have to understand. There's a concept that you have to understand for the exam. It's better to have smaller ones than a big, large one. Okay. Now, cost optimization. So auto tag resources, very important. We haven't tagged any resources, but tagging is essential and is crucial to save money. Okay. Why? Because you can find resources by tag and find them really, really quickly and save money because probably you're using a particular EC2 instance. The name, the tag is dev, and you want to find all your dev instances. You can find them by tag and then find the one that is causing a lot of charges. So tagging is essential for saving money. Don't forget, okay? Identify always on non-production systems. You know, there should be always on in production, not in any other system. So development, testing, like we saw before, it cannot be always on, okay? Because you don't need those instances always on, okay? That's a rule of thumb. Identify always on non-production systems and turn them off, right? Identify instances to downsize. So instances that need less power, less capacity, identify them and downsize them, okay? Or just simply find those that you're not using, reduce the amount, okay? So recommend reserve instances to purchase. Why do they recommend that? Because the more you reserve, the more you save. You're gonna save tons of money by reserving, but you know, it depends on the use case. You have to see your company capacity, your company demands. You know, you may be a company that doesn't need reserve instances, but we should always recommend that, you know, just in case. Dashboard your status. You can have a dashboard in CloudWatch where you can see the status of your instances. Consolidate your billing. You know, if you have different accounts together, you can have only one bill to consolidate billing, and then you don't save money, but what it does is you can pay only one bill. You don't have to pay tons of bills. You know, so that's part of the optimization of the cost. And reports on savings. You know, there's some services like Trusted Advisor, like Cost Explorer. Those guys, a simple monthly calculator, they can give you reports and data on how much you can save for your resources. Okay, so measure, monitor, improve, optimize your AWS environment. I just mentioned these guys: AWS Trusted Advisor, Cost Explorer. These guys, they can help you optimize your costs. Okay, you can reduce the cost, increase performance, and improve security. These guys, right? Because you know, there's some things that Trusted Advisor checks, and one of them is security. Okay, it gives you recommendations what has been breached, what can you do about it, reliability as well, customization, all the things that Trusted Advisor can do. Okay. You have Trusted Advisor, and you also have full Trusted Advisor, but that's for other support plans. We have the basic plan, and we don't have the benefits, the full benefits of Trusted Advisor. And we have Cost Explorer. You can view graphics of your cost the last 13 months. This is important. You can see all that you have spent in the last 13 months, and it gives you like a projected cost for the next 3 months. That's very important. Okay, very important. You can go back all the way to 3 months ago, and you could go forward to 3 months forecast of your likely cost. You may spend less or more. It's just a forecast. Okay, and you can view the data by day or month. That's pretty good. Okay. Continual cost optimization and auto scaling, monitor, improve is like a loop. You know, pricing and types and RIs is a continual process that happens and happens and happens again. It can be even automated, so you don't have to worry about that. So Lambda. So what? Any questions so far? No questions?
Keep going.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Not for me.
It's the same.
Good. So we have AWS Lambda. It's a fully managed serverless. Very important, serverless. Serverless. So if they tell you that a company is looking to
Hey, how's it going, man?
A company is looking to implement a serverless architecture, they want to use a fully managed service, you can mention Lambda. Lambda is one of them. Okay, it's event-driven. This company is looking for a fully managed, event-driven serverless compute service. That's going to be Lambda. Okay, very important. 6-second metering. It's super fast, and the function execution limited to a maximum of 15 minutes. Now, this is not correct. AWS increased this. Okay, so this is not correct. Okay, one moment. That's why it's good to know things. It's 15 minutes, right? The maximum execution time for this is 15 minutes. Of course, you don't have it in your slides. Remember, your slides are not updated. I just updated this. Just put in your notes that it's not 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes before. Right now is 15 minutes. Okay. Now, if your exam is not updated and you see 5 minutes and you don't see 15 anywhere, choose 5 minutes. Okay, very important. Multiple language support. It supports, Java, Python, JavaScript, Node.js, all those languages. There's no servers to manage with Lambda. It's serverless. It's continuous scaling. It scales continuously, and subsecond metering. Okay. What happens with Lambda? What you have to do is just upload your code to AWS Lambda, and that's it. Now the code, you set it up to trigger from other services, HTTP endpoints, or in-app activities. Okay. So Lambda runs your code only when triggered, using only the compute resources needed. And you pay just for the compute time that you use. Lambda, if you don't use it, you don't pay for it. It's just for when it's running, okay? Lambda use cases. When do we use Lambda? For example, when we want to change an S3 bucket, you want to do something like change a file, upload a file, remove a file, change it to an Amazon DynamoDB table. By the way, DynamoDB is also used in serverless architectures. It's also serverless. You respond to HTTP request, and you invoke the code with API calls. Okay, so you can build serverless applications with triggered by Lambda functions and deploy with AWS Code Pipeline and AWS Code Deploy. You don't need to know about these two services, Code Pipeline and AWS Code Deploy, only if you are in your solutions architect class. But this is only for development, and we don't need to know anything about that. We just need to know that they exist. That's it. Okay, so for example, an example of Lambda function, you can capture an image for the property listing, and real estate thing. And then the mobile app uploads the new image to Amazon S3. And then Lambda function is triggered and called Amazon recognition, which is to recognize faces. And then Amazon recognition retrieves the image from Amazon S3 and returns labels for the detected property and amenities. This is just an example of what happens with Lambda. The main thing here for Lambda for this exam is that Lambda is triggered by an event. And what's the event? Someone uploads a new image to Amazon S3. Okay, but you have to set this up in Amazon S3. Amazon S3 just by itself, just because it's a good guy, is gonna trigger Lambda. No, you have to. There's one section of S3 that says events, where you can trigger event and call a Lambda function, and the Lambda function will call another service. In this case, Amazon recognition. All right. So fully managed serverless compute, even event-driven execution, execute code only when needed, and scales automatically. You don't need auto scaling for Amazon for Lambda. It scales automatically. Multiple languages supported. Okay. So if you need to use more and more requests for Lambda, you don't need to do anything. It scales automatically. Okay. So it can adjust to the capacity, to the demand pretty easily. Okay, it's a fully managed service, fully managed. That's what it means. All right. So this guy is a platform as a service. Okay, platform as a service. That's Elastic Beanstalk. You can quickly deploy, scale, and manage web apps. Reduce management complexity. Keep control in your hands. Okay. Choose your instance type. Choose your database, set and adjust auto scaling, update your application, access server log files, and enable HTTPS on load balancer. Now, you can do all this manually, right? You can do this manually. I can create my database manually in the console. I can create my instance type in the console. I can create auto scaling. I can update my application in the console. I can access server logs. I can enable this in the load balancer manually. But by using Elastic Load Balancer, you can automate this. You can use this with this platform. You just upload the code. Let's say that you want to load an HTML file, okay, that contains some some headings and all that. What you have to do is zip it and upload it to Elastic Beanstalk. And Elastic Beanstalk, we create the server that we created before to display that hello text in with Apache server that we created. Elastic Load Balancer, we create that for you. It will create the server for you. It will create everything that is needed to display that text in the HTML file. That's the good thing about this guy. It's a platform as a service where you can put everything in this platform and then deploy my code. Okay, this is the platforms that AWS Elastic Beanstalk supports. Packer Builder. You can have a single container or multiple containers or pre-configured Docker. So this is pretty advanced, right? You can have Go if you know that platform Go, Java SE, Java with Tomcat, .NET on Windows Server with IIS, Node.js, PHP, Python, Ruby. Okay, so you can use all these platforms with. You can write code with these guys and then upload it to AWS Elastic Beanstalk, and it recognizes this. Okay, and we create the resources for you. There's no charge for Elastic Beanstalk. It's free, but if you create resources with them, resources that are not free with Elastic Beanstalk, then you're gonna be charged. Okay, that's very important. But don't forget, Elastic Beanstalk is platform as a service. So this is a high-level graphic of what happens with Elastic Beanstalk. You have your code here. You have your code. And Elastic Beanstalk provides all the application services that you need for your application. The only thing that you have to do is create the code. Okay? It will do all this: the application service, the HTTP request service, the operating system, the language interpreter, the host. Everything will be done by Elastic Beanstalk. The only thing that you have to do is just create the code. Is it not convenient? It's amazing. Create the code, and then it will do everything else for you. So it's super easy to deploy. Okay, that's why many companies are going for Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, the key benefits of this is fast and simple to begin. Upload the code, and that's it. Right? Developer productivity. You know, developers, they can work better with Elastic Beanstalk. You can have more control of this. It's impossible to outgrow. Why? Because it scales automatically. It's highly scalable. It's highly available. There's nothing that can beat Elastic Beanstalk. You need 200 example. You need 25 EC2 instances. It will create it for you. So it doesn't matter. It's impossible to outgrow Elastic Beanstalk, and you have complete control of your resources. Okay. In review, it enhances developer productivity by simplifying the process of deploying your application, reduces management complexity, and there's no charge for Elastic Beanstalk. You pay only for the services that you use, right? So, guys, did you have any questions? Do you have any questions of this part? I think it was a pretty long class today. We could have finished before, but we have that little demo on creating users and all that, and that took some time from us. So if you have any questions, you can ask now.
So far, we have the lab 3 to do for our next class.
Yes, lab 3. You should get, I guess, probably. Let me see. One moment. Let me see here. One moment. Let me stop the streaming. We don't need streaming anymore.